So, what takes longer to tip over? A shorter or longer stick, or maybe a pencil? Okay, so let's do the pencil first. It's kind of hard. Let's do the pencil first. Okay, let's do that again. I want it to go to the side. Okay, now let's do the longer PVC. Now let's do the longer PVC. This one takes longer than this. Now watch this. I can't balance this on my hand. Watch. I can't do it. You try. I can't do it. Okay, here's a shorter one. I can do it. You gotta practice. Okay, here's the longer one. Easy, huh? Oh! Longer, better. Long is not the same as short. Longer is better. Long is not the same as short. Okay, so we want to model the motion of a falling pencil. So, and this is a special case in that I have the pencil and I have the point down here pinned, whether by friction or some other force. And that's just going to make it, you can still do it even if it slides, but if you take a normal pencil and it's falling over, it's probably the bottom's going to move. I'm just going to say the bottom's stationary. So I have a pencil of length M. Oh, I didn't put the mass M. The mass M. The length is L. And the angle with respect to the vertical axis is theta. So I have these three forces on there, which I've already drawn. I have the gravitational force acting at the center of the rod, assuming it's uniform density, pencil or rod or whatever you want it to be. And I'll hopefully remember to put a video down below that explains why that's the gravitational force seems to act at one point. And then I have these two forces at the pin that I don't really care about. So I could write down the momentum principle. I could say F net equals the change in momentum over the change in time, but or mass times acceleration, which is true. The mass times acceleration for the center mass. It does indeed accelerate down and to the right. Okay, so but that doesn't really matter too much. Instead, I'd like to use the angular momentum principle in one dimension, really. So I'm going to assume this is the z-axis. So I'm going to say the net torque about some point O is the change in angular momentum about that same axis with respect to the change in time. And I'm going to pick this as my point O down there. So I have the angular momentum is I omega, where I for a stick, if you rotate about the center, is 1/3 ml squared. You'd have to either calculate that with calculus or look it up, so we can just look that up. Okay, so I know the torque. Actually, there's another way to write this equation. I could say torque net O equals I. Let's see, I'll write it out. It's going to be I delta omega over delta t, since I omega is the angular momentum for a rigid object, and this is the angular acceleration. So it's going to be I alpha, where alpha is the angular acceleration. So I know that torque. I can calculate the torque. The torque is going to be equal to the distance from here to there, the perpendicular distance. So the torque is R perpendicular times F. So I'm going to use this distance here for my R. And you can see if this is L over 2, then this is going to be L over 2 times cosine, times this side, which is sine theta. Almost made a mistake. Sine theta, that's the R, and then the force is mg. So that's the torque, and I'm going to put over here equals 1/3 ml squared, that's I, and then alpha. The masses cancel. Okay. And one of the lengths cancel, but not the other. So if I solve this for alpha, I get the following. Alpha equals 3/2 sine theta G over L. That's important. So this is important because it says that the length does matter. The longer it is, the lower the angular acceleration, which is what we found, right? The shorter things tipped over faster. So length does matter, even though mass cancels. It also depends on g. That's important. We could check the units. This is going to be meters per second squared divided by meters. It does give me 1/second squared, which is radians per second squared. That's the right unit. So this looks like it works. But now let's say I want to actually model this motion and find out how long it takes to tip over. Here we have a problem. Because this is like the rate of change of the angular velocity. That's the angular acceleration. But the angular velocity is the rate of change of the angle. And the angle is in there. So it's a pretty tough problem to do just off the top of your head, because I have a quantity and the second rate of change of that quantity are related. So this is what would be traditionally a differential equation, but I'm not going to use differential equations to solve this. Instead, I'm going to create a numerical calculation to solve this problem. So in this problem, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to, let me start a new piece of paper. So let me write down this. This is my angular acceleration. I said alpha is equal to 3/2 sine theta G over L. So I can calculate that at every instant. And then from that, I can also say this is equal to the change in omega over the change in time. So if I solve this for delta omega, I get delta omega equals, I'm just going to write it as alpha, which I can calculate, alpha delta t. So this says omega 2 equals omega 1 plus alpha delta t. So this is my first step. Calculate the angular acceleration. Next step, I'm going to use that value, and I'm going to start with some initial angular velocity and calculate the new angular velocity after a short time interval. This is the whole big deal with the numerical calculation. So once I do that, now I can find the new angle. I can use the definition of angular velocity, omega equals delta theta over delta t, and say, do the same thing. Theta 2 equals theta 1 plus, this technically should be omega average, but I'm going to use omega 2 because I just calculated it, delta t. So this is again the short time interval, and this is wrong. This is wrong too because the angular acceleration changes over that time interval too. But if it's short, it should be okay. So this is going to be step 3. And then step 4, I'll say t2 equals t1 plus delta t. So I'll update the time. And then I'll go back up here. Now I have a new angle, so I can calculate the new angular acceleration, and I can repeat the whole thing. This is the whole process of a numerical calculation. If I have an expression of the acceleration, I can then find the change in velocity, angular velocity, and I can find the change in angular position. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this in Python. But I just want to give you an idea of where it's starting from and where we get the equations from. So let's go over to Python and I'll see you there. Okay, I've got a little jump start on you here just to get things started. So let's just go through what I have. I have g, which is not a vector in this case because I'm dealing with this other equation. The length of the pencil, the initial angle theta, the initial angular velocity, and time, and the d time. Then down here I put a box. I put the ground just for fun. And then the stick is a cylinder. Okay, so for a cylinder, you have to put the first is the position where it starts, and then the axis is a vector from here to there. And then I gave it, I used that angle to determine how it was leaning, which I have it straight up. And then the radius is the thickness of the pencil, and then the color, and I turn on the trail. Okay, So we're pretty much ready to start our calculations. The first thing we're going to do is to make a loop. Yep. So while theta is less than pi over 2, because once it gets to pi over 2, that would be all the way down. I'm going to stop it then. The next thing is, since I have a visual display, I need to put rate in here. So this says don't do any more than 100 calculations per second. Since I'm having a time step of 0.01, this will make it in real time. So now the next step is to calculate the angular acceleration. So I'll say alpha equals, and this is just straight from my equation, 3/2 times sine of theta times g divided by L. Now with that, I'm going to use that to update the angular velocity. Omega equals omega plus alpha times dt. Now remember here that this is not an algebraic equation. This says take the value of omega, add alpha times delta t, and make that the new omega. Next, I'm going to update theta. Theta is equal, same thing, theta plus omega times dt, and update time. And let's print out the time, because that'll be tip time. T. And now I'm going to save it, and I'm going to run it. Oh, actually, this is not going to work. I'm going to change this because I just realized. I'm going to run it for 3 seconds while t less than 3. Tip time. Get it? So you'll see what happened here. I put the initial angle as 0. And if that's the case, the angular acceleration is 0. It's perfectly balanced. And so this is a computer calculation, a numerical calculation. There's no rounding error yet, so it never falls over. So what I need to do is instead give it some initial angle, let's say 0.1 radians. I just picked that value. Now I can go over here and say, while theta is less than pi over 2. See, I knew it would never finished. See, I'm thinking. Okay, let's run it. Well, something happened. While theta is less than pi over, okay, so I have it going the wrong way. That's the problem. So I have, that's why. No? What the heck did I do? It's leaning there, so, the ground is, that's right. I want this one. I don't know why I put this as negative. It's still stopping. So the angular alpha omega theta. I feel like one of these should be negative. No, that should be positive. Theta times g over L. Omega is alpha times d theta. Let's just do this. See, this is a great chance for us to troubleshoot. Just print omega each time. See what happens. Okay. Oh, I know what I did. I'm so silly. I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, so I've updated theta, but I didn't update the actual image. So I need to do this. Stick.axis equals L times vector sine theta cosine theta 0. So I just need to update that with the new angle, and I think that should do it. And I did it. So the position is at the point, so you don't really see it. And it took 0.29 seconds. Now let's just go ahead and change this to, let's say, half a meter. And everything's going to look the same because everything's going to scale up. Took longer. Let's say we put this to, let's say, 2 meters. Notice how it takes a lot longer to fall over. This is exactly what we saw happening. Let's put it at 10 meters, and I'll stop it. Okay, now let's go back down to 0.1 meters and run it. And it takes 0.29 seconds. Now let's say I start at an angle of 0.01 radians. It takes, on the order of 2 times as long. So we have this situation that's super sensitive to the initial starting time, starting angle. Let's put that really small. It's still going to tip over. Okay, so you can see that you can play around with this. I really want to make another program, but I'm not. Then the other program would be to plot the tipping time as a function of starting angle. And maybe I'll do that. But I think for right now, this video is going to be long enough. So I will just stop there. I'll include this code. I'll include a link to some other things like angular momentum, torque, the center of mass / center of gravity down below. So hopefully you'll find this useful, and I'll talk to you later.